Hey animators, welcome to 2026. And we're starting off with 2026 with a complete banger. I've reached out to Rokoko and they graciously sent me their Rokoko SmartSuit motion capture solution. So I've been using motion capture for so many years. I've worked with motion capture suits that are in excess, or rather motion capture systems that are in excess of £100,000, where we're talking about the systems where the cameras themselves are about, what, 10 grand each, something along those lines. I don't know what it's like today with inflation. It's been a while since I used them. But I've used the highest end down to like the most budget friendly option, and having the opportunity to look at Rokoko and their motion capture solution and seeing how it can work for production, for games, movies, TV, and just being able to help animators in general is something that's super key, super valuable, and super important. And what they've done is they've sent me their amazing solution here. So I believe here, if I look on the order that they sent me, I've got the SmartSuit Pro II. So that's going to be in here. I've also got the gloves and the headset. So I'm going to guess the headset is either in here, or this is the gloves, or maybe it's both. I actually don't know. So what I'm going to be doing today is I'm actually going to be unboxing their new motion capture solution. Now I know that this is like their second iteration, so they've learned some things since they first made them. They've improved the technology, they've improved the software. So there's going to be major improvements, especially in 2026. So what I'm going to be doing today is not a full comprehensive review. I'm going to unbox it, give my general thoughts and impressions, do a suit up on it, and just give you my general thoughts and perspective as a professional animator who's been working in animation and games for over 10 years. So without further ado, how about we jump in? So I'm going to start off with a smaller box. Let's get the big one out of the way. We'll deal with that in a moment. Yeah, you can go here. And what we will do is we will open this. So, Rokoko's mocap solution, I've been looking at it for a number of years, and yeah, it can be quite expensive, but one thing I will say, it's a lot cheaper than many other solutions out there. There are other solutions, like, you know, I've heard of things like such as XNs, and then there are other like, you know, AI mocap solutions, but what this one is, it's an inertia-based system. And for those of you who don't know what an inertia-based system means, is it tracks your movement because it's one core system. So when you have a typical mocap solution, so let's say like the top end, like you would have in a major studio, what you would have is you'd have cameras that are built in a room, and those cameras, there's going to be at least 10 of them, usually all the way up to about 50, sometimes more. And these cameras will track individual markers on your suit. And then that will be transmitted into data, which you can then retarget onto your rig. And then that's how you're going to translate the human motion. So like, you know, me moving here like this, digitized onto your character. But when you have an inertia-based system, which is the one that I'm about to be unboxing here and now, it works a little bit differently. Think of it as it derives the information because each marker is already, or each tracker rather, is already built into the suit. And because it's already built into the suit, it already knows how far away each tracker is from each other. So it's able to calculate the movement based on its position and rotational data in 3D space. So that's a long way of saying it knows where each marker is or each tracker is, and that way it's able to derive it based on, it's able to derive the positioning of it based on your movement. So it tracks your movement, digitizes your movement, puts it onto a 3D character. So let's look at the very first thing that Rokoko sent to me. Okay. Well, first of all, the packaging is really, really nice. So this is their Rokoko head rig. Let me turn this around so you guys can see it. So you can see here that it's got Rokoko on the front. It's got their logo and their symbol. And here it says that it's the head rig here. And then obviously on the side, on the right hand side, you've got rokoko.com here, and it's a really, really nicely packaged box. It's got like this kind of matte rubberized feel to it. It actually kind of reminds me of Apple products in that way. So really premium packaging. Like seriously, Rokoko, good job with that. Like really makes it feel premium, really makes it feel high end. All right, so when I open up this, you've got basically just to support this, it's like foam, that's all good. Plonk that over here for now. And then what else do we have? We have this strap. So this strap here, from what I can gather that this looks like, it looks like a tightening mechanism that you would use. Yeah, you can see. So if I twist it, you can see it does that. And if I do that, it tightens it so you can adjust it for any head size, and this would fit at the back of your head here and tighten it accordingly. And what I like about this is that it feels really high end, like really, really well built. Like these tabs here on the side, like these are made of plastic. So I think that part feels a little bit on the cheaper end, like these tightening straps. But the rest of it feels like it's made with like, you know, coated aluminium or stainless steel that's been like anodized to be black. And it feels really high end, really premium. This like plasticky rubber leather thing feels really good here. It's got like some Velcro on the inside that makes it feel really high end and really nice. I'm not exactly sure how that works, but I'm pretty sure I'd be able to figure it out if I just gave it enough time. Yeah, I will deal with that another time. So let's park this off to the side. Let's put that here. But as I was saying, this feels really nice. Like there's a nice spongy kind of, it's not memory foam, like it springs back really nicely, but it's really soft. And I can tell that it'd feel really comfortable wearing this for a long period of time, especially pressing against the back of your head. It's got a good amount of weight to it. So it makes me feel like, yeah, this is gonna be secure on my head and I ain't got to worry about it. Like pretty well built. Inside here as well, so these are more like Velcro pads that you're gonna attach to things just to make it a bit more comfortable. I will go into that in a bit more detail when I do the whole suit up. But yeah, pretty cool so far. Then, what else do we have here? Okay, let's take this out. So all of this bottom comes out here, and then you've got a Rokoko headgear guide. So getting started. I'll zoom into that in the edit. And then you've got some guides here, which tells you exactly how to connect it. That's actually really useful and something I didn't know. So this strap here actually goes in the bottom of it and on the top. Okay, that's awesome. So let's just try that really quickly, just so I can see if I can figure out how that works. So this would go on the front of your head here, and you have your phone or whatever device you're gonna have that's gonna track your face so that you can do facial motion capture. That's super cool. So from what I can tell, the way that this works is this and this pops into here and then tightens somehow. I haven't looked at exactly how, but the general feel of it is that it's gonna do something like this. Okay, that's pretty dope. And then this is gonna loop. I'll do this later. But this is gonna loop in through here. Quite a tight squeeze. Loop in through there, hook around, and this is gonna do the same thing on the back. So I probably shouldn't have pulled that through all the way. So what I'm probably gonna have to do is probably off camera, I'm gonna have to feed this back through, probably unscrew this and then feed it back through so that I can have it tightened up the way that it's supposed to. So, but that's cool, that's good to know. All right, so what I'm gonna do for now is let's put this back, all good. But overall, super cool, really good quality product. Like feels really sturdy and like really well built. Well, to be honest with you, I expect it to feel quite well built because, you know, this product isn't exactly cheap. So with that in mind, I think they've done a really good job of the build quality of this. But that feels awesome. So that's the headgear. Let's get that out of the way. And then how about we get onto the main one, which is this big boy here, which is the Smart Suit itself. All right, let's do this. And we've got a few boxes here. So we've got this one, and this one has an even more rubberized feel to it. Like this really feels like an Apple product. Like the quality of the packaging. I'm gonna go in that in more detail in a second, but let's see what else is in here. So we've got that big box there. I assume that's the suit itself. And then we've got this smaller package here, which is, it says it's the gloves. All right, now let's see what we got. So I'm gonna start off with the gloves. Now, when I look at this, it says, the future is in your hands. And it comes in this like reflective gloss black, like gloss black on matte black, and it looks really nice and premium. Then on the front here, it says smart gloves. So I don't know if the camera's gonna pick that up for you guys. So I'm gonna do a little bit of rotation so you can maybe pick that up from the reflections of the lights in here. So yeah, so the future is in your hands. And then on the bottom, you've got a similar effect happening here. And then on the very bottom, yeah, you got Rokoko.com. And if you do the same thing, It's really cool. And like I said, again, it's got this like really good rubberized grip, like rubberized feel to it. And it feels really nice and really premium, like really, really nice packaging. So then you've got the getting started guide for the smart gloves. And in case you guys are wondering what smart gloves are, all the smart gloves let you do is that lets you do like finger tracking, because one of the things that you're going to want to do when you're capturing a full character is you want to be able to get as much detail and information as possible. And typically without these gloves, what you're going to have is just basically your hands working as paddles, and they're just going to be doing this or whatever your movement is. You're not going to get any fine, intricate detail with the fingers. So that's going to allow you to capture that detail. Of course, you're going to have to clean it up and stuff. That's just normal. But yeah, that's what it's going to allow you to capture. So inside here, we've got our smart gloves, which comes in this really nice like leather case. And it's got that same like matte black on black effect. So the same kind of gloss effect there. Really nice. And you've got smart gloves here on the front in that same kind of effect. I don't know if the camera's catching it or not. And then what else do we have in here, just in case there's anything else? So there's another pink pull tab here. So if I pull that up and I bring this over here, there are 2 cables inside. Now, I'm going to assume that these cables, so let's pull these out. Let's pull one of them out at least. So actually there's 4 cables. There's a longer cable, which is a USB-A to USB Type-C. I do wish there was USB-C to USB-C, but that's okay. Like it's completely fine. It's no big deal. It just would have been nice. And then you've got a smaller cable, which is again another angled USB-C to USB-A, or rather USB-A to USB-C. And there's 4 of them in there. So there's 4 cables in there. And obviously I'm assuming that these cables are to connect the gloves to the actual suit itself. That's just my assumption without actually going through the process and suiting up. All right, so the smart gloves, I got the medium size, by the way. I thought the medium would be perfect for me, especially just because of my general size and stuff. And one thing I like about this already is I can already tell that, you know, this is the right hand, and what they've done, they put like this little markers so you know where your index finger, sorry, your middle finger is. And then you can feel here that you've got like this little rubberized puck, which I'm guessing is your tracker. And then you see you've got a USB port, USB-C port right here, which I'm assuming is going to allow you to plug your larger cables or your shorter cables into this, and that's going to connect to the suit and then power it. So let's see what the overall fit feels like. Probably be wise if I take off this ring of mine. But let's see how this fits and feels. So already, just me trying to get it on, it feels quite snug. Like really snug. So let's just try and get this on. All right. So I think I actually got the perfect size for me, because when I just do an initial fit, like the size is perfect. So if you're somebody that's like, you know, 5'7" or shorter, I can recommend getting the medium. I have pretty normal size hands, but this is pretty awesome. I love the feel. It's got this kind of leather feeling on the palm, so that you can grip stuff and not have to worry about injuring your hand. So you can probably grip with some confidence. And again, it feels really well built. It doesn't feel flimsy or like it's gonna fall apart. It feels really, really well built, really, really well done. And you've got these sensors here on each of the fingers and the thumb. That's going to be able to be, just so you know where your point of articulations are. So I probably want to move that to be about here, so that it can read exactly where I'm bending the finger, as you can see, so that it would know inside of the software that, hey, like I'm bending the finger here. But that's really cool. That's super awesome. I won't bother putting both on right now. I'll save that for the suit up. But just my general thoughts and impressions, it's a really good fit, really well made. And then even here it says, yeah, smart gloves, just in case you didn't know what it was. But this is awesome. I really love it. All right. So let's take this off. Let's see how it is to get off. Getting this off isn't as easy. And even though it's well built, I still want to be gentle with it, because there's quite a lot of technology and wires and stuff going through here. And I don't want to accidentally bend any of the wires in a way that causes a short inside of them. So that's something that is maybe just my own internal fear, but I think it's something to absolutely consider. Like, even though these are well built, it's still an expensive piece of kit and you really want to take care of it. So as for storing the gloves, what I like about them is they come with this like kind of strap here, so they're not flimsy, they don't fall out. There's also some more stuff here. So this is like a carrying case so you can store all your cables and stuff. So rather than having them in this box, you could just stuff your cables in like these netted mesh compartments here. And I think that's pretty cool. And there's also a little indicator inside here so you know which way to put your gloves as well. That way, so that the sensors, they don't end up bumping together and stop you from closing the case. That's actually really well thought out. That's pretty awesome. All right, so that's the smart gloves. Now we're gonna move over to the main event, which is the smart suit. So same kind of feeling with this box. It's got that really nice like rubberized feel to it, and it's got the matte black on gloss black, and this time it says join the movement, which I think is a clever play on words, it being a motion capture suit as well. And considering the size of Rokoko and the kind of standing that they are as a company, they really do like to work with like content creators and people that are professionals in the animation space so that they can bring more brand awareness to their products, and also so they can get genuine feedback, which is what I'm going to be doing in a later video, so that they can see how they can improve their products and services and just improve the accuracy of their motion capture solutions. Now, because it's rubberized, it's quite difficult to take off. And one thing I don't want to do is I don't want to rip this gorgeous packaging. So you got to really take your time and it'll eventually just slide off. So let's park you off to the side there. And then immediately, we're greeted with this really, really high-tech looking suit. I'm going to come back to the suit in just a second. I'm just going to see what else is in the bag here. So we've got a getting started guide, SmartSuit Pro II. Then there's this little bag that comes here. It's got this like really nice rope, and then it's a really gritty texture, but it comes with a bunch of cables. So you can see here, there's a lot of cables here. Now, what these specifically are for, I don't know. I'm going to assume these are replacement cables. I'd have to look into the actual like startup guide to figure out exactly what these are for, but my gut instinct is telling me that these are replacement cables. If not, I'll edit that and I'll correct it inside of the notes when I'm making the edit for this video. So there's a lot more that's going on here. It says need to repair your Rokoko products. Okay, so this is actually a repair kit. Well, that's really cool. So here, it says allows you to repair your Rokoko kit. Then there's a QR code that you scan, and then it will show you instructions about how to repair it if anything was to go wrong. That's really cool. That's actually really, really cool that they give you an actual repair kit for the product. So rather than having, if something goes wrong with it, rather than sending it back to them, you actually have instructions how to repair it yourself. And I guess that makes sense of why these cables here look so exposed here when the other ones seem so nicely finished and premium. These ones, they've got the connectors on them. You can see the individual wires. But overall, really cool. Let's put these back because I'm not in need of that, thankfully. And you've got the cables of different lengths. So obviously, I'm guessing these cables are for different specific parts and different modules on the suit's like main like circuit board or something like that. I don't actually know. I'm not going to pretend to know either. The USB-C cable in here is very similar to the other one, just the only difference is this time it doesn't have the L-shaped 90-degree bend. It's just a straight USB-C to USB-A to USB-C. Awesome. So now that we've gone through that, how about we get into the main event, which is the actual suit. Now, on my first impressions, this is quite a high-tech piece of equipment. Like, seriously. So firstly, just in terms of general feel, it's got some weight to it, man. Because you see, here's the thing. With a traditional motion capture suit, so something like XNs or even just the full Velcro suit that you would have in a full-on studio, when you have like, you know, all the lights around in a room and all the cameras that are going to track the little balls that are on you, those suits are extremely light and allow you to have maximum movement and flexibility. This one, without actually putting the thing on, it's got a bit of weight to it, like not enough that I feel like it's going to really hinder me, but enough that I can feel like, yeah, there's a lot of tech and stuff going on in here. So just even generally, if I just go down to the arms themselves, I can feel all of the little cables and wires inside of here. So this wire coming out here, I'm guessing that's to connect to the gloves. it would make sense because it's got a 90-degree USB-C here. And then you've got all these different kind of straps that are gonna allow you to tighten it and get it really fitted to your body shape. It's also got like this kind of like mesh springy material, which is nice because it means that it's gonna be able to contour to your body. And there's a lot of nice fine detailing in here. That's, for example, it says here, SmartSuit Pro II. And it's got like this kind of breathable mesh, which is actually really useful. Because let me give you a bit of education. For those of you who don't know and have never been in a motion capture like studio before, when you're in a big production studio, so you have like about a good 50 or so cameras around you, and basically this solution's over £100,000 easy. But when you're working in that kind of studio, in that kind of space, those suits get really hot, especially when you're acting for a long time and you wish you had ventilation, because those suits, they're just plain black, they zip up and they're just basically Velcro on the outside. It's plain. And you individually place the markers on your wrist, your elbows, your chest, your head, and you wear like a cap as well. So you get really hot really quickly. But I think where Rokoko has done really well, they mitigated that by making part of this like a really like thin mesh material. So the suit itself feels very, very good quality, but this mesh material is gonna absolutely make it breathable and make it much better for like, you know, longer recording sessions. I guess without going into every single nook and cranny, I think the best thing I can do is really get up and try the thing on. What do you say? All right, so I think it's about time that we jump in the suit, test it out, see how it fits, see how it feels, give you my general thoughts and impressions. What do we say? All right, so here we are, we're in the suit. One thing I did notice when I was putting it on, that it actually has this head strap that you attach here, and that leaves you like a wire coming out the back of your head like you're plugged into the Matrix. But nonetheless, this is the suit. I think it feels really snug, really form-fitting, really comfortable. In terms of overall sizing, I'm 5'7", so if you're taller than I am, or you have a wider frame, I'd happily recommend that you go for the large. I'd say if you're anything above 5'10", I would recommend going for the large one. Because even at 5'7", I've got a little bit of extra room in the legs here, but if you're somebody that, like myself, you go to the gym, you do Thai boxing, you play football or anything like that, or you're an active person, then this is gonna be extremely snug. For me, you can see it's really snug around the chest, shoulders and arms, and on the thighs as well, but everywhere else fits absolutely perfectly. As I mentioned before, the gloves are a snug, tight fit. And honestly, the way that this looks aesthetically, looks incredible. You kind of feel like Iron Man, or you kind of feel like, you know, you're really ready to go fight some crime or kick some ass. But I would highly recommend this in terms of build quality. It doesn't feel cheap. It doesn't feel like I'm afraid to act and do everything I need to do in it. I can move quite comfortably. Yep, and everything's completely fine. I don't feel like I'm gonna break the suit. I don't feel like I'm gonna tear it. And one of the things that I quite like about it already is I feel like I can work in this for a very long time, because it does have that kind of snug fitting material, but inside of the arms, all down the side here, is this breathable mesh material. And if anybody who's worked in motion capture using the Velcro suits knows that you sweat buckets in those things. But I think what Rokoko has done with this is made it really, they really thought about it. The actor that's gonna be working this for a long time, they thought about their well-being, and you can tell it's really, really good. When it comes to the feet, the way it is like the straps on the front here, as you can see, I'm wearing this in socks right now and I feel like I'm completely fine. But if I'm gonna say that you're gonna perform in this, I would recommend that you go barefooted, or you wear really, really thin trainers that have basically really snug and tight to your feet. Because one thing you don't wanna do, you don't wanna wear out the straps at the bottom. So I would highly recommend that you probably go barefooted with this, and then you can do everything that you need to do. But it's awesome, it feels great. I can do everything I need to do here and we're good to go. So yeah, I feel really flexible. I feel like I'm a samurai or a ninja and I can go and fight crime in this thing. Like, it's absolutely incredible. Really flexible. And it's absolutely incredible. That's really what I'd say. So I think Rokoko, you guys have done an amazing job with this. I would say, yeah, in terms of build quality, 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10, really high quality, really great stuff. I've used many motion capture suits over the years, and this one in particular feels really high tech, feels really well made, really thought out. And then even when I go and plug on the headset over here. So I'm gonna throw this on as well, just to get the full fit of everything. Tighten that around the back. Like, that's really cool, that's really awesome. So even as I throw this on, I can feel like I can act normally without any hindrance or any problems. And if I was to attach my phone here, I wouldn't find it distracting. I could act and talk to you completely normally, and there would be no problems. So my general thoughts about the Rokoko suit overall, like I said, very well built, very well put together, clearly thinks about the actor and the person in the suit and their long-term comfortability. So I think you guys have done an amazing job. I just want to say, Rokoko, thank you for sending this out. Thank you for sponsoring this video. And I'm looking forward to making more content using the suit. I'm also looking forward to, like, use it in my own motion capture course and sharing a lot of amazing motion capture workflows with you using their incredible tools, hardware and software. Anyways, that's gonna be it for today's video. I'm gonna save a full in-depth review for a little bit later. So today was really just an unboxing and an overview. But I wanted to share with you what my general thoughts were and getting into the suit for the first time. So I love it. I actually don't want to get out the thing. I actually want to go and record mocap right now for like some ongoing projects I have going on. But until next time, my fellow animators, I'll catch you later. And until then, peace.